So you said something interesting. I constantly battle with this is at what point do you become specific in sport? I meet a lot of families now and a lot of parents. They seem to get so niche or so specific. You know, that seems like a mistake maybe, right?
The problem is that everyone's trying to make so much money off of youth sports now. So it's like, but there's schools that are, you know, trying to pigeonhole you into this is your sport. You practice your sport this amount of days. You know, not that club sports are bad, but the club coaches, like if they're saying to you that you can't miss a day because you have another club sport that you're playing or you're doing this activity or that, then I think that's a red flag.
Shade isn't a place you hide. It's where you pause, where you think, where real work happens. Quietly, creatively, and authentically. No slides, no filters. Just candid conversation about a story worth telling. It's not about villains. This is where brand builders, creatives, and storytellers come to share the stories they usually don't tell in pitch decks or press releases. It's about the people who work behind the scenes, challenge the obvious, bend the rules, or build unforgettable brands. This is
Shady Characters.
We're here today with Chris Conte, a great friend of mine, and I'm honored to have you here as a Shady character here at Thatch Creative.
Before we start, I want to say one thing. The Bears.
Go Bears.
So, Chris Conte, former NFL safety, drafted by the Bears, played 4 seasons in Chicago before you went to Tampa and retired in...
Like 2019
season, right? So I got the honor of meeting Chris, I think in 20.
What year did Brady go to Tampa Bay?
Year after.
That's why Chris doesn't have that big jewelry right now.
My fingers are a little light today.
Yeah, a little light, but it's all right.
What does that feel like?
I was definitely rooting for them not to win the Super Bowl. But it was cool to see everybody, but it was kind of a weird thing to see all your buddies like act very differently. Like, you know, all these guys, you were on losing teams in Tampa and all of a sudden Tom Brady shows up, they start winning.
Yeah.
Guys got really cocky really quick. And some dynamics in friendships definitely changed because guys started thinking, you know, I'm a Super Bowl champion now.
Yeah.
They think they're bigger than they really are.
Changes your resume.
Changed your resume. A lot of guys.
Yeah.
A lot of guys thought there, you know, poop don't stink.
Yeah.
So.
What year did we meet?
So we moved out 2020. So it was our first
Halloween.
Our first Halloween. Yeah.
So we met. So that was early COVID then.
Yeah. It was, you know, I guess we were probably a little, we were kind of in the thick of COVID, I guess.
October 2020.
Yeah.
You guys had recently relocated from Tampa.
Yeah, we came out in June, bought our house without seeing it. My dad went and looked at houses for us, picked a house that we liked.
Yeah.
Looking anywhere from Newport down to San Clemente and found a house in San Juan. Didn't really know much about San Juan. Found our house and, you know, we were newly moved in. Weren't a lot of people around hanging out and getting to know people. So we were trying to figure out what to do for our first Halloween. And
And you've got young kids.
And got young kids, yeah. So we had 2 kids at the time. No, we didn't. Yeah, I guess, yeah, we did.
You did?
Just newly had.
Yeah.
You know? Yeah.
Mac was like turning 1 or something.
Yeah. So kind of did some research on like where to go, the best neighborhoods are.
Yeah.
For trick-or-treating.
And of course it took him to our neighborhood.
And their neighborhood was like the first one that came up. So we went down, made a few road margaritas, went down to the neighborhood to start trick-or-treating, and we pull into Evan's neighborhood and their whole family's out there taking pictures. And I go to Seth, hey, look at that family. They're dressed up the same exact costumes. They were the greatest showman. We were the greatest showman. And down to like...
Great minds think alike.
The characters, you know.
Yeah.
Evan obviously was the more realistic.
The bearded woman.
Bearded lady.
Bearded lady.
Real beard.
Yeah. I was the fake.
He is still dressed as a bearded lady. He refuses to take off the costume.
Although the beard's gotten shorter, but you know, so we pulled
It was
up.
weird that we had the same dress.
Same dress.
Like, I don't know. My wife bought my dress for that thing. I'm hoping your wife bought yours.
It was definitely an Amazon.
Okay,
Amazon dress.
You guys got to cut the photo into this podcast. Like,
Yeah.
There's some good. There's Within 5 minutes of meeting, we had the full prom.
We took prom pictures.
So.
Knew nothing about each other. Exchanged phone numbers so that I could text you prom pictures of us as bearded women. I seem to remember you guys pulling into the cul-de-sac, and I started waving, and Kara's like, "Do you know these guys?" And I'm like, "I must." They're like driving straight to us, and then you guys stopped, and I'm like, "Oh, nope, not familiar." And and you're in the same bearded thing, and we realized very quickly that our families were in identical costumes essentially, and we being
They're like the
awesome
same age kids too, right? Are they pretty close?
Pretty close. Yeah. But being like awesome individuals, we decided, what better opportunity to take prom photos with a stranger in a dress than the present. So we did that within 90 seconds of meeting each other, exchanged numbers, and I remember like a month later, your son Mac was turning 1, and we had texted back and forth a few times, never seen each other again. But I think since you guys had just moved here, maybe you were like asking like, "Hey, what beach should we go to?" or what, something like that. And so I got an invite to Mac's party, and I brought it up to Kara, and Kara's like, "Wait, what? Who are you? You're still talking to that guy that was the bearded woman?" Like, I've been having this like secret dialogue with my bearded brethren, and I was like, "What? We can go to his." And you were having. I remember you were having a Big Mac, like a McDonald's themed first birthday, because his name's McLean and Big Mac, and the rest is history. And now we go back
and
quite a ways.
And you invited the Burghers to your party.
Yeah, that's probably the only reason we got invited.
Bring some Big Macs.
Dude,
that's also funny because this quick story about my dad and how he is. We sent him to get the Big Macs, and he came back with like 3 Big Macs
for a party with like a bunch of kids.
Like, dude,
we're gonna need at least 2 more, Dad.
Like, come on, dude.
Dad, you're in charge of the Big Macs. You get
in charge of the Big Macs. Got 3.
Yeah.
So I didn't know.
Yeah. Getting to know you over the years, obviously, getting to know a little bit of your backstory. You've got a really interesting backstory. You grew up in LA, went to high school in LA. Why don't you tell us a little bit about what that experience was like growing up in the Palisades?
Yeah. So even going back further, I think it's cool. Just back history. My dad was in the movie industry, which kind of both parents were very LA families, had been in LA for generations. Outside of my mom grew up in Westwood. My dad was in Beverly Hills, but because his father was an actor and was in tons of movies in the 50s, was in The Godfather.
How cool is that?
Cool.
Yeah.
Tons of movies, and so my dad naturally went into the film business, and that's, he was a big time surfer, spent his whole life growing up surfing, and always kind of dreamed of being in the Palisades. And
what did he do for a film?
He's a film editor.
Oh, sweet.
Yeah.
Feature film editor,
feature
right?
films.
So like growing up, you guys would spend extended periods of time on location, right?
Yeah, so we
like
spent a ton of time in Canada.
He's actually there's a cutting film, right?
Before everything went digital, physically cutting
that's cool.
film. And it was cool. We got to be in a couple movies ourselves, and a couple Mario Van Peebles movies, which was fun. And it was just cool to be around that whole experience as a kid. And I don't think that, growing up in the Palisades, Henry Short, Martin Short's son, was in my class at school. Just so many, LA Hollywood type figures growing up around.
Yeah.
Was just a unique experience. And then being able to travel as a kid, going to countries like Bulgaria, all these random places, that was a very unique experience for me, growing up and for our family. And was a really cool place to grow up. I mean, the Palisades was special. Like, it was a very special place to grow up. I really felt like I could run free, and I got to really be creative, imaginative, and play. And I think that's a lot of what led to me becoming a professional athlete, is because I just loved to be outside all the time and constantly was playing. And I always felt like sports was just like what I did. It was like what our family did. And my dad didn't play sports growing up. His family just didn't really believe in organized sports. Very progressive Hollywood family, so they didn't believe in organized sports. And just from day one, it was like sports. I played everything, soccer, baseball. The only sport they didn't let me play was football. And so I played flag football growing up, and fell in love. I don't know if it was because it was the one sport that they didn't let me play, but I just loved football. And I think I even more so loved it because all of the dress up and everything. I was really into dressing up as a kid.
That's the Hollywood in you.
Yeah.
That's the Hollywood in you, man.
Yeah. So, army stuff, like I was,
you become a warrior.
My mom would take me to, the grocery store, and I'd be in full Desert Storm, just ready to go.
It's so strange that we met in it while he was wearing a dress, right? Like
still playing dress up all these years later.
Yeah, I know. Grew up in the Palisades. Parents bought their house when I was 5 years old. I think we remodeled that house in around like 2000 or so. Went to a small Catholic school called Corpus Christi in the Palisades, and lived in that house. Went to Loyola High School, then went to Cal, and got drafted, and all that stuff. And then
were you a scholarship or?
Yeah,
did you walk on? Yeah.
Scholarship. It was funny because I really wanted to play wide receiver. Well, first I really wanted to play quarterback. I was a big UCLA fan growing up, and Troy Aikman was like who I wanted to be. I wanted to play quarterback, and I remember the first day being at Loyola for like freshman football. They see me throwing the football, and they're like, he's a wide receiver. So they quickly moved me to wide out, and I could catch. I had great hands, so I really thought I was going to be a wide receiver. Was a really good wide receiver. And then it kind of turned into a thing that I was the white cornerback.
And then you take the ball from the receiver.
So,
you were still a receiver.
I always tell guys, if you're on defense, it's, once the ball's in there, you're a receiver. So,
Did you excel from an early age in most sports? Like, were you always pretty decent at every sport you played?
I think every coach that coached me said I always remember coaches telling me, like, I wasn't like generation, like a LeBron James or anything. Like I wasn't far superior than everyone, but I was always, the top, on my little league team or whatever. I was the top 1 or 2 kid and everything. And I was always
because you worked harder, or because it came naturally.
There was some natural ability for sure, but I always just felt like I just kind of made it to the next, took that step. And like I was saying, but every coach I had, I just remember them always telling me, like, hey, you can take this as, like, if you want basketball or baseball, it's like you can take it as far as you want to go. But I was a kid that was definitely obsessed with things, which kind of was weird from an early age. But like I was very, like, I'd be outside shooting basketball for hours until they're like, all right, you got to come inside. Like I would just obsess over things. I made my parents like put a net in the backyard, whether it was soccer or whatever. Like I was just outside. Like I just was crazy about things. And like from an early age, even just diet, like I stopped drinking soda. I would do back exercises every night, like to stretch and everything, because my doctor said you could get like another inch out of it. So I was like, all right, I need that inch. So I would do like everything I possibly could from a young age, because I had this dream of, I wanted to play. I wanted to just play college football at first. And then once I got to college, it was like, all right, I can actually make it to the NFL. Like that's where, the dream of going to the NFL happened. But growing up, I was much more.
Was there a backup plan if the NFL didn't work?
There's never a backup plan. No. My last year of school at Cal, I didn't even go to class, and that's why I'm a Sun Devil. Go Devils, hook 'em. Or not hook 'em, fork 'em.
Fork 'em.
I was like, you're going to 2 different schools.
So Chris retired from the NFL. Was what, a year short or something of like getting the college degree. So went back to school, ASU.
So I took online. So not to knock on Berkeley, but Berkeley would not let me take any classes online. They wanted me to come back and finish school on campus, and a lot of that was probably because I failed all my classes my senior year. But I was like, no, I'm not going to go back to Berkeley. So I transferred all my credits over to the prestigious ASU University, and
Forcum.
Yeah, that's what they say, Forcum, right?
I don't know.
I don't know. You're the one that said it. I thought it was funny.
Yeah, I don't know. They say something like that. But yeah, and then so I just took these online classes and graduated. And then, fast forward a few years later on one of our Burgher trips, we went to Arizona, and Evan took our graduation photos.
That's right. I sure did. Yeah, it was great. We went and we forked them up.
We forked them.
Yeah. Yeah.
Good for you, man. I'm proud you graduated.
Yeah. My mom, that was for my mom. Otherwise, I mean, I was really thinking like, oh, I'm going to graduate. Then there's going to be all these opportunities. Graduating, I was like, nothing changed.
No. Yeah.
But you got a cool piece of paper.
Yeah, I got a piece of paper, and they sent me like a little like football that was like from the NFL that said like congrats. I don't know, but
that's cool.
That's cool.
I still think it was funny when I graduated college. There was one of the guys that was in my fraternity. He's like, we just got our degrees, and he's walking by. He's like, check it out, Mom. This could have been a Mercedes.
Yeah, I know. That's a whole nother issue.
Yeah. So coming back to Cal, you're what, 20, 21. You're doing pretty well. There's obviously a point where natural ability doesn't take you as far as the NFL, right? So there's a point in your life where the decisions you've made, the work you're putting in allows you the opportunity to feel like, hey, I got a shot at this, right? What was the turning point for you?
I'll say throughout my life, there's been very influential people, just like coaches, and I would say in good and bad. So I think my career, and this is probably for a lot of athletes, like a good or a bad coach can kind of change your path and direction. So like I was playing baseball, and a lot of the reason why I quit baseball is because I had a terrible coach. It just made me hate baseball, and I just didn't want to play baseball anymore. I told my parents I'm not playing baseball anymore. So once I got to high school, quit baseball, done with baseball, and I was ready to start playing football anyways. But on the opposite end of that, I had a coach, Derek Davis, who I met in high school, who was like, wanted to turn me into a white cornerback. He's like, you have all the ability, like work with me, stick with me, and I'll take you as far as, you want to go. And he's been a huge influence in my life. A lot of the reason why I train kids is because of him and the training that he did with me. And from there on, then, another influential coach, I was at Cal. I started my freshman year at corner. I was probably a little bit too white to play corner in the Pac-12. At least my freshman year, I was still probably weighing like 175 pounds. I was a really good athlete, but probably didn't quite have like the maturity and the speed and everything else to really compete with seniors in the Pac-12. I mean, I think the one thing the Pac-12 has going for it is skill position players, like just always very strong skill position players, maybe not the size and whatnot of the O&D line and whatnot that other conferences have, but at skill positions, the Pac-12 has always been, one of the best. So I just probably was not quite there. I played well, but it was a little bit of a stretch. And so, they buried me on the depth chart at Cal. We got a new DB coach, and he brought in his guys, and I was rotating in, playing special teams. Like NFL was not in my future at all. And we had our defense coordinator, who actually I'm still friends with and have a lot of respect for, but he got fired, Bob Gregory, who's actually back at Cal now. And he gets fired, and Coach Tedford brings in a new defense coordinator, and Clancy Pendergast. He came from the Cardinals, and was coaching in the NFL, and he's walking around the weight room, and he comes and grabs me. He's like, "What's the deal? What's your deal? Like, why aren't you playing? Like, what's going on? Why are you not playing safety? Like, what's the deal?" He's like, "You're too good of an athlete to not be on the field. Like, what's going on here?" And he's like, "You're safety. You're gonna come meet with me all the off season. I'm gonna get you ready to play, and you're gonna play safety." And so that season, I was like, "Yeah, I'm all in." I met with him in the morning every day over summer. Spent a lot of time with his office, and we just grew this great relationship and built a lot of trust together. And I went out and I had an outstanding season, and I was all Pac-10. And I would go into these meetings when I was the pre-draft process, and all these GMs that I talked to, they're like, "We're looking at this film, and we're trying to, we think you're the best safety in this draft." And there's another kid out of UCLA at the time, Raheem Moore, who ended up being drafted higher than me, and he was probably rated the number one safety. And I remember talking to these GMs like, "Man, we think you're I'm looking at his film, and we're looking at your film, and we think you're better than him." And we got
what does it feel like at that point to get drafted by the greatest team in the NFL?
Yeah, it was surreal. It was honestly unexpected. I think that's the biggest thing with the draft process is you kind of have all these ideas about where you're going, and all of a sudden you get picked by a team that you were like, "Man, that came out of nowhere." And I really had no idea. My parents had no idea. Even getting recruited through college, my parents had no clue about. My dad never thought I would play in college, yet alone he never thought. He still will say, he's like, "I can't believe you played in the NFL." It's like sometimes I just have to be like, "Did that really happen? Did you really play in the NFL?"
And you survived, yeah.
Yeah, it's like, because I don't believe my kid could have played in the NFL. But we'll talk about the other. But my dad was adopted, so it's a funny backstory there. Not to go on too much of a tangent, but we did 23andMe and ended up finding his biological father, and his name's Ray Watkins, and so I'm really Chris Watkins. But Ray Watkins was a football player in Selma, California, and God, he had some cool name. I'm blanking on his name, but he had a really cool nickname.
His nickname? Oh,
Yeah,
really?
Ray.
Cooler than the white unicorn?
A little cooler.
I was
man.
we got to get the backstory on the nickname
Wasn't
too.
sure. It was something catchy and cool. Probably that rhymes with Ray, but it was something cool. And my biological mom, or not mine, but my dad's biological mom, was a cheerleader. So that brings us back to the Steph Conte.
How did you meet your wife?
Yes. Yeah.
Evan touched on it. Can you please tell us the backstory on the white unicorn?
Oh yeah. All right. So originally I was the Birdman. So it was a nickname given to me in Chicago. I was the Birdman, and
Did you do the big?
I did the bird. I would fly around and do the bird thing. And
Like a majestic eagle?
I call myself a peregrine falcon. Very fast.
Okay.
Very,
Yeah.
Okay. And then we had some really good years in Chicago with the Brian Urlacher days, and then Brian Urlacher leaves, and we get a new coach, we get Mark Trestman, and it turns into a dumpster fire. And
You shut your mouth. The Bears we're talking about here.
but everything goes south very quickly in Chicago, and I become probably most hated players, whatever, in Chicago recent history for a while. And so the Birdman had to die, and I got rid of social media, and I killed the Birdman, and then I was reborn the white unicorn. So then, the white unicorn came, and it really just
Thankfully at that point, you get out of Chicago.
Yeah.
I end up in
Tampa.
Back with your old coach in
Lovey,
Tampa.
Lovey goes to Tampa. I end up with Lovey in Tampa, and then spend a year with Lovey in Tampa, and then Lovey gets fired in Tampa. And then we get Dirk Cutter. And I had some great years in Tampa. I think I played really good football and became a much better football player in Tampa. I really started to feel comfortable, and we just didn't have great teams there.
Yeah.
But I think I played really good football in Tampa.
But one great thing to come out of it is
Mrs. Conte.
is the wife now, right?
Yeah.
So tell me about that.
So yeah, so
She thought you played good football too.
yeah. So it's funny because Chicago doesn't have cheerleaders, and so when I heard or found out I was going to go to Tampa, the first thing I did was start researching their cheerleaders. And so I was scrolling through the cheerleaders, and I was like, oh, all right.
They've got a football roster for the players, and they got a roster for the cheerleaders.
They got a cheerleader roster.
Yeah, okay.
So saw Steph, and I was like, hey, sent her a couple DMs.
This is before you even arrive in Tampa?
This was getting
hey,
ready.
I'm coming.
Hey, I'm on the way. I'm on the way. Get ready. So I sent her a DM when I'm on the way to Tampa, and it took a while for us
Did
to
you
actually.
address yourself as this is Chris the white unicorn?
I did. I said, hey, this is the white unicorn.
You might have heard of me. I was a peregrine falcon.
I was the bird.
I've been reborn.
Yeah, but it's funny because I probably keep saying that, but her grandma, there was this whole story about me because I had a bunch of concussions in Chicago, and there was this story, and I don't feel this way anymore.
Yeah.
By the way, but I had this story where I was like, I don't care if I die early or what. I just want to play football, and her grandma saw this on the news or something, and saw this article, and was like, this really cute boy on the news, I just don't understand it. He's got so much going. Why would he say a thing like that? It was end up, having dinner and meeting Steph's grandparents, and Steph's got a very unique background. Her family's from the Seychelles. And her grandma's just so funny and has all these stories and things and very unique character. And she just would always bring up that story of it just seemed very aligned and serendipitous.
Mm-hmm.
So it was a cool way to, not that Instagram was a cool way to meet, but it worked out, and It was very cool to be running out of the tunnel and then doing the national anthem and looking over, and we do the little wink at each other and a little smile and everything. So that was a really cool experience. And then after that, she stopped cheerleading, and then we had Charlie, and another awesome experience was. Well, not awesome. Well, ended up being an awesome experience, but having Charlie during a football game. Mm-hmm. So we were playing out in Arizona, and it was one of the probably two games. We had a game in Buffalo away, and we had a game in Arizona away, and those were the two games circled on hey, let's just not have a baby this weekend. Yeah. And of course, end up getting the call as I'm going to bed in Arizona the night before our game, and she's like, "Oh, we're going to the hospital." And we were down a couple safeties at the time, and they're just the timing of flights to even get back and try and make it, and we just made the decision hey, I'll just get back as soon as I can after the game. Ended up playing the game and just getting smoked by the Cardinals, and Charlie was born during halftime.
Yeah.
And,
oh yeah. Did you find out? Did they wait to tell you until after the game, or you found out at halftime?
Yeah. Our player personnel guy was on the phone, just texting back and forth with Steph's mom and giving updates, and brings over a picture. I think it's during the third quarter at some point.
Wow.
I'm sitting on the bench, just come off from a series, and he's like. Shows a picture. Here's your daughter.
Yeah.
And I just was like, it was a very emotional moment. Damn, very cool. And
so you come off the field and you get a FaceTime Steph or something at that point, or
no?
Yeah.
It wasn't until after the game I really called her, but it was I remember at halftime I was getting updates every birth is it's a roller coaster. Mm-hmm. There's things that happen that come up, and it's there was, the heart rate is dropping, and you're
yeah.
like getting these like updates. You're like, oh my God, like what? Like you're like freaking out because first time being a dad, like you don't realize like how crazy of a process that is just to like go through and all the things that have to go right. And there's so many things that have the potential of going wrong very quickly. So it was a roller coaster of just getting these updates of like, worrying about like, all right, is she okay? Is like, is the baby okay? And everything like that. And then to finally see the baby during the third quarter was just like an emotional, like
a relief.
And also just like, wow, like that's, that's my child. And
life is changing.
Life is, changed in that moment. And, it's a really cool story to tell. I wish I would have been there for Charlie's birth, but it's a very cool story. And I think Charlie enjoys being able to tell
she wears it as a badge of honor now.
Story,
yeah. So Charlie's an amazing athlete in her own right. We were talking about this before the show, but she's kind of doing a little bit of everything. What is your hope for your next generation? You've got 3 kids. You got Charlie, Mac, and Bodie. Are you going to push them in any direction towards sport, or are you going to let them carve their own path independently, or what's your plan there?
I want to be a resource for them. I think I have such a unique background. I think I could be the best coach and give them all, like being able to go through everything and train in so many different ways and have so many different experiences. Like I have a roadmap for my kids that I think I could take them and help them to get to wherever they want to go.
Yeah.
Whether they want to do that or not, like I'm not going to try and push that and make that decision for them. I would love for Mac, I would love for Bodie, even Charlie to play football. Like the whole girls flag football thing is incredible, and Charlie is absolutely loving it. And I hope Charlie continues to play flag football and love it. But I just want them to be competitive and love competing in everything. And I just like, that's like what I love. Like we go out and play pickleball. Like I love just I think sports just like the best thing, and it's such a good outlet and teaches you so many lessons. And I think team sports especially are such an important thing for development. I think, school could be tough, or, you don't know what classmates you're going to have and stuff. And you just meet so many different people and have so many different experiences playing sports. I think it's just the greatest thing on earth. And it brings so many people together, and, you can be fighting over politics or whatever not, but you can
sports are bipartisan and bring everyone
it's just
together.
Like common ground, and like you can be competitive.
There's like the healthy competition.
Yeah, completely. Sure. I think it's one of the best things that we've got going. So I just hope that they love sports as much as I love sports, and I can kind of give that passion. But Steph's got. It's funny. Steph has the dance background, but she's probably just as competitive as I am, and she's a diehard Eagles fan, and she's a huge football fan. And we love watching our kids play sports. We love watching sports. So sports is just a huge part of our family in general that it's hard for me to believe that our kids wouldn't want to go into sports and play sports. And
So you've found an interesting way now to keep sport in your life post professional career, right? In sports movements, and sports movements is youth, athletic, agility, strength, speed training. Do you want to tell us a little bit about what that is?
I mean, kind of like the concept behind sports movements is not even just like specifically like speed or anything. It's just teaching the movements of sports. So it can be speed training. It can be change of direction. It's plyometrics. It's strength. It's kind of all encompassing of all sports and all movement patterns and skills and how to become an athlete. The way that I trained, and a lot of my training background is in track and field, and I think it's kind of the best way to train.
So I come to sports movements not to become a football player specifically. I come to sports movements to learn how to move better as it applies to every sport.
Apply force, right? how to angles, how to move like an athlete, what sport that is. And I think there's, I think my background of playing so many sports growing up, that carryover is like these kids that are focusing on one sport from an early age. It's just a mistake unless you're going to be a golfer, or, tennis or whatnot. But you can take so many things from every sport that I think you should train in all sorts of various ways. And train in different sports. And I really think football, unless you're a quarterback, is kind of bringing it all together, whether, you know, O lineman, you're D lineman, you're whatever. It's you pull from every sport, and there's lessons to learn from every sport.
So you said something interesting, and I constantly battle with this. Is at what point do you become specific in sport, right?
Yeah.
And so you talk about you growing up, you kind of dabbled in a lot of different things, and now you relate a lot of the skills that you maybe learned across all those disciplines to something that helped propel you in one sport to the ultimate level of that, being the NFL. I meet a lot of families now and a lot of parents that are going, nope, we're in on soccer. All we do is soccer. That's our thing, or volleyball, or whatever it is. But they seem to get so niche or so specific at younger ages now. And what I just heard you say is, you can learn it. That seems like a mistake, maybe, right? And
100%.
so in your opinion, how would you tackle that with raising
the problem is
family?
that everyone's trying to make so much money off of youth sports now. So it's like you have, I'm not going to name names but there's schools that are, trying to pigeonhole you into, this is your sport. You practice your sport this amount of days. You focus on it, and it's just. Everything wants to, not that club sports are bad, but, soccer, it's all year round. Like football, it's all year round. Like everything's all year round. And I think you just have to prioritize putting in time to be able to do other sports. And I think club sports are great, and you should play club sports. But the club coaches, like if they're saying to you that you can't miss a day because you have another club sport that you're playing, or you're doing this activity or that, then I think that's a red flag. I think you should be able to, especially at an early age, it's not that serious. It should be more about the development. It's not about winning or losing games. And I think you should be able to get the best coaching here and then go off and get the best coaching somewhere else. And I think coaches should support young athletes to do as many things as they possibly can, and not be so like, all right, you have to play just baseball year round and whatnot. I spent, at an early age, I probably spent as much time surfing, skateboarding, and riding my bike and doing all that stuff as I did everything else. So I think you really, and a lot of the reasons, so I played a lot of club soccer growing up, and a lot of the reason I didn't want to play club soccer anymore is because of how demanding it was at an early age. And I just was like, I'm tired of going to San Bernardino for a soccer tournament. And I think kids get really burnt out on that stuff. So I think what I want to do for my kids especially is like always emphasize it being fun. And then I think once you get to high school, then it's time to start, once you're getting maybe 8th grade even, but
yeah.
It's like when you go to school, you're not just taking math classes only. You're taking all kinds of different classes to figure out what you want to do.
Exactly. But then high school, I still think you should try and play multiple sports in high school, but I think you cut it down to 2, or, it's like, and then after that, then obviously you go to college, you're going to probably play just one sport, but, being a kid and having fun with your buddies, you meet all sorts of different people. You should play as many sports as you possibly can, I think.
Yeah. It seems like the cross training, the idea of cross training or multi-sport training, seemed to be so popular before, right? You had the Bo Jacksons, right? The Bo Jacksons that were like, this guy can do it all because he isn't focused so on one thing, and it feels like there has been a shift towards becoming hyper specific, maybe in our generation, and maybe that's not that. Maybe there'll be a shift back.
But I think there's also, there's kids that can handle it. So it's like there's outliers to everything, and like you see all these basketball players, especially coming from Europe and stuff. And they are so like these big guys like Djokovic, like all these dudes that are huge and so skilled. And it's like they've been only playing basketball since they were like, 4 years old. So it's like if you're able to get mentally past, like that ability to just focus on one thing and be hyper focused on one thing, you're probably gonna get pretty good at it. So it's you don't want to burn your kid out. But there's like a balance between like, I want to push you a little bit, like, cause the skills, you need to be able to develop those skills. But my biggest thing, like for a lot of sports is you can take so much from other sports, and you can kind of practice the things and get better at things by using other sports.
Yeah.
To take those to whatever your main sport is. So.
Yep. Did your dad, coming from the film industry, was there a world where he wanted you to enter that, or was he like, no, son, I don't want this for you?
No.
Like, was sport a way for you to rebel against dad saying, I want you to do this thing? And
the honest truth is my dad traveled a lot for work. So like we said, we would go and visit him.
Yep.
But he was gone, at least through my early childhood, for
big stretches.
big stretch of time. So these movies, would be months long, and we maybe go see him for a week or two, wherever he's at, but he'd be gone for months and months. So really, it was my brother and his friends and whatnot. Just my brother's 6 years older than me, and it was just this desire to be able to compete and hang out with them. And we
be able to keep up with the big kids.
Yeah, to be able to keep up. And there was just his friends that were good athletes that I really looked up to. And I was like, man, I want to be able to do that. What that kid can do is like, that kid's cool. He can shoot the ball really well or whatever. And we had this unique street. It's called Seebeck Circle in the Palisades. And there's bluffs there. It's kind of like just this unique area. Like, back then there weren't Amazon trucks driving up and down the street. Like, we had probably 10 kids that lived on our street. And every single, like, there were hockey games, there were football games. Every day after school, we were all out on the street playing games. And we could ride our bikes. Like, our parents didn't know where we were for most of the day until it was, it started getting dark. And then we'd come home and eat and do whatever homework, or say we did our homework or whatever. And then, like, it was just like, as soon as I got home, get outside and play sports, run around. And that's why I think that just played a big part in me becoming a good athlete.
Yep.
And just building that creativity and everything. And then, jump forward now, and then where the Palisades is now, that's why it's just such a sad thing, because the Palisades was just such a unique place. And my parents losing their house in the fire is just like, it's hard, because it was just such a cool place to grow up, and just really like a time capsule of, I don't think there's a ton of places like that to grow up anymore. And the Palisades did start to change a lot. It's and I think all of California has changed a lot, just because it's getting so expensive to live and harder for families to live in these communities. But the Palisades was this very unique, family-oriented. Like, we had Palisades Park, where you played all your sports at the local park. You knew everybody. It was a very cool environment. And then to fast forward now, and then, going through the fires and everything else, and parents, losing that home. That's kind of what makes it such a sad thing, is not so much losing the home, but like the destruction of this really cool place.
From the perspective of the Palisades, you mourn the loss of not only the physical Seebeck Circle, the family house, whatever. You mourn the loss of the ideology of what the Palisades meant to you, right?
Yeah,
and like that's the bigger thing. It sounds like.
Yeah, 100%. And then,
do you see a world where it gets back to that when they rebuild, or at this point it's going to rebuild, but it's going to be something different?
It's going to be so different. I mean, even just my parents are involved in this project. It's this case study adapt program, and it's a revamp of a program that was after World War II, and reimagining California living. And the house that they're building back is a very modern house. It's supposed to be, climate, resilient and whatnot. But the Palisades is just going to look so different. It's Palisades. There were these family homes, and it changed a lot as I was growing up and left the Palisades. And now there's, these huge houses, but it was, at least when we first started living there, it was much more of a blue collar place. And now it's, a very, very wealthy, expensive area to live. And my school that I went to burned down. And even before that, they were were losing enrollment. They barely could keep the school even going.
Yeah.
I just don't think there's families really,
Yeah.
in that area anymore. It's just so expensive. It's hard for young families to be able to afford to live there. And that's honestly why we moved down here. San Juan is such a cool area, and there's so many young families. And to meet a family like yours in your neighborhood, like that's, I think, what everybody as a parent is trying to recreate, an experience where their kids can grow up in this really cool environment and feel safe and be around other young families that are like-minded. And that's kind of, that's really what, brought us down here, and trying to recreate that kind of experience that I got in the Palisades and loved, and recreate that down here for our kids and give them a special experience like I had.
Yeah, I know that was part of the reason, that when I first moved to California, I started in North County. I did the Huntington Beach thing. I did the Costa Mesa thing. I did the Mission Viejo thing for a hot minute. And then we ended up in Dana Point for 5 years. And at that time, we were looking to buy a house, and that's how we discovered San Juan. But I think the migration south in Orange County was really the evolution of like where I was in our life cycle. And raising a family in South Orange County is amazing. But I couldn't imagine doing it as in the same way in North Orange County, right?
Yeah.
And so, it's pretty special down here for sure.
Completely. Yeah, and I hope it continues to stay that way. Like my biggest fear about raising kids here is that they won't afford to be able to live here. That's like the one thing about California. It's like, man, like it's a beautiful, beautiful place, but like
get the sunshine tax.
I want my kids to be able to afford to live here. I want to be able to live by my kids, and it's just. It seems like as time goes on, it's like more and more people are just getting priced out of living around here.
Well, I think we are nearing our time.
Yeah.
I think that I'd love to close this out like with an opportunity. I don't know if there's anything else that you want to say about sports movements, give it a plug, or about anything else that you're working on.
Just, I mean, not even so much plugging, but we didn't really talk about it, but just, my daughter playing flag football, and then our kids playing flag football. The boys haven't quite started, but they're going to get into it. Yep. And then just, next gen flag football is another, venture that I'm spending some time with. Matt and Tim Vizzi are really, talking about community. It's all community based, and growing this league in Dana Point that can expand out of Dana Point and kind of start to take over South County. That's built around families. And creating this experience for kids that's really special and fun. They got the tunnel, your daughter played in it with my daughter, and I think they just had a great experience, and we just want to bring football and that fun to kids, and especially grow the girls' side, because girls didn't have that before, and to have this outlet of flag football and to see the girls just absolutely love it. Yeah. Is so fun, and I think the girls just bring such a good energy to the sport. Where they're out there dancing, they've got the face paint, they're just so into it, and it's a really cool thing being a dad that played football, to be able to share football with my daughter in this very unique way. And shout out to the Vizzies for having a great league, and I just want to say I'm very excited about helping them expand it and grow it and turn it into something bigger and better, because the foundation's there, and it's all starting with community, which I think is really cool.
So White Unicorn getting more involved with Next Gen. Yeah. What does that mean?
So it means, trying to just raise awareness for the league to get more people in. And so we're creating also, they have Get Me the Ball, which is kind of like their training, other entity to be able to grow outside of just the flag football league. Yep. To be able to do other opportunities and run camps, run all sorts of different things where we can really develop athletes, not even just for football, but kind of the same idea as sports movements, just creating this community of training, mentorship, and just giving back to kids. Okay. Like our experience, Tim played football at a very high level, and there's a big community of NFL athletes. Jordan Palmer's his kids play in Next Gen. Mark Sanchez's kids play in Next Gen, there's just so many guys in Orange County.
Sure.
You know, Troy Nicholas is here. His kids play. You know, there's so many NFL guys, and there's so many resources down here. It's such a unique thing that we really want to try and bring all those people together and give kids a really cool experience to, you know, make their dreams come true.
Yeah, that tunnel is really cool. It's this big
it's so
inflated
fun.
tunnel. They got the smoke machine. They do the big announcement. The kids all come running out. It is a very exciting thing. It makes me wish I could be a kid again and do that. Like,
Shout out to the Eagles champs, first, second division.
Oh, we should do this. Okay, I'm going to put you on the spot.
Yeah.
Let's see. Best NFL team.
Right now, or
No, I mean your favorite.
oh, my favorite?
Yeah.
I have to say Chargers, just because
Okay.
we've kind of adopted the Chargers.
Worst NFL team.
Worst NFL team? Oh boy. I have to say the Pittsburgh Steelers for obvious reasons.
Let's see. Best quarterback you played with.
Jay Cutler.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Let's see. What are some other ones? What are some other notable guys that really stand out from your playing time?
Calvin Johnson was, you know,
That's got to be incredible.
going against him,
Yeah.
or you know, every year, twice a year, and then a really cool experience was getting to play against Randy Moss when he was with the 49ers, and I got to hit him one time, and I was like, yeah, Randy Moss, and but yeah,
Do you think he remembers that
no,
the
he
same
does
way that
not
you remember that?
at all. I remember somebody on our team was like just like laughing at me, just like, dude, come on. That's Randy Moss.
That's Randy Moss. What are you doing?
And then Adrian Peterson was just a freak show to have to go against.
Yeah.
And Chris Johnson was the hardest person to tackle. And then I always have to say Randall Cobb. Randall Cobb was, he was a really good player, and I actually got to hang out with him at that RX3 tournament and just talk about all of the things and that infamous 4th and 8 play, and just he's such a good guy and such a good family guy. It's, you know, it's interesting when you meet these guys that you know competed against, and I always tell people, like, people that like, there's so many good guys in the NFL, and I think it's hard to make it to that level. You know, there's some that aren't, maybe, but to get to that level, you really have to be a good all-around person for the most part. Like, I think a better man is a better athlete, is a better football player. You really have to have tons of things going. Like I talk about Brian Urlacher, one of the greatest humans ever. Mike Evans, one of the greatest humans ever. Levante David, one of the greatest humans ever. Like, these are great people, and they just happen to also be really good at football. So I always tell people, like, there's some really special people, and you know, you should, you know, people are a little wary of idolizing athletes and whatnot, but like, idolize these people because they are really good people on and off the field.
They walk the walk. They talk the talk.
They do.
And,
They really are. Like, those guys would take the shirt off their back for their teammates. Brian Urlacher would do anything. Like, if you're a rookie coming in undrafted, you needed something, Brian Urlacher would give it to you. He'd loan you money. He'd give you a car to drive, like anything. Like, that was a really special thing, and it really speaks to the brotherhood of the NFL. Like, guys, you know, really want to take care of each other, and guys, with at least my experience, were always forthcoming with trying to make you a better player, trying to teach you, you know, the tricks of the, like, everything. It's a very, like, pay it forward type league, and I think when you become a veteran in the NFL, you want to give back to the younger guys, and you always want to make other guys better. And that's, you know, I'm training guys in the off season that are with NFL teams, and then training guys for the combine, and it's all about just giving back to those guys and like making those guys' dreams come true and trying to help them to get to as far as they can possibly go.
Yeah. Well, that's awesome, man.
Yeah.
Obviously this one ran longer
Yeah.
than usual because I feel like I know you pretty well.
Yeah,
I
it's
feel like we
hard.
had some fun stuff to talk about.
Yeah.
Thank you for taking the time and coming on the show today. I love hearing the stories. I learned new stuff about you. That was cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
I feel like we could talk for like a long time.
Maybe we should just keep going.
Yeah.
All right. Well, again, Chris Conte, former NFL safety, now really involved in sport in a variety of different manners. Thank you for coming on and being a shady character. You should be impressed that Mikey adjusting that camera means that you're significantly taller than our last guest.
Oh, yeah.
Then
Oh,
Peter.
but then Peter, yeah.
He thought Peter was the same size as you. Not even close.
Peter can't jump.
What else you get up to today? You're not in the desert.
Not in the desert.
Yeah.
Stuff for the condo and everything.
Oh, yeah.
Getting that all done. Being a landlord.
Oh, no way.
Yeah. Isn't that
Isn't
your
it
dream
Crystal
to
Cove?
be
It's like
your
blue.
dad's landlord?
Yeah. Actually, like stick it to the man finally.
Oh, sorry, Dad. Like,
Black mold. Bummer.
remember when you used to send me to my room, Dad? Well, guess what? You don't even get a room now.